Everybody in the house, we have Mr. Hegan Lamb, good friend of mine. When did we meet? 6 years ago? 5, 6, 7?
Something like that. Sounds sick.
And you're just asking me about
Arizona.
Yeah. Mike, a little closer to your face, please.
Better?
No.
This.
Yeah, but we do
Down
want
low.
to see your face. Yeah.
Okay.
No, Arizona was fun. Like I said, the drive-in was what was really, because like going through the mountains.
Yeah.
What was that, 3 hours or 4? 3.5 hours just driving. And then, of course, anytime they see something on the way in, we had to stop and go try to rope it. But
Yeah.
front of my trailer, I had to borrow my brother-in-law's, and he had single axle 16-foot, but it was on a normal pickup, like with a bed.
Uh-huh.
And so it was too high in the front.
Yeah.
Which I was like, when I hooked up to it, I was like, oh, that's fine. I'll change it later. It's a single axle. It's not like it's picking up the second, the front axle.
Right.
Well, then when I got out there, we would go on those switchbacks on those mountains. And by the time I turned back, I'm going up. So the back would drag. Well, then it would drag down the mountain towards the cliff with 4 horses in it.
Did it get a little western?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, like we got close to falling off the cliff like 8 times. So that was super sketchy. And then once we got there, you're just catching wild cows.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. I've always been kind of one of my dreams was to go out there and hook up with those guys and go catch that stuff, and see it all the time. But
the one thing that was like super impressive though, to me, the cows are cows. Mm-hmm. The yearling 2.5-year-old bulls, they are what they are.
Mm-hmm.
A 9-weight with sharp horns. But like these guys would blow in there and rope like a 5-year-old big bull with big horns, not tipped, that was coming to you. And they would rope them and step around a tree and then have it tied down like they were a calf roper.
Yeah.
That was what impressed me.
Experience. They know how to handle that stuff. Yeah, for sure.
And
sure.
Angle for it, like on the side of a cliff.
Right.
Like the wilder, the better.
That's awesome.
And so I think you would have, you would kill it out there.
Oh.
Because at one point they did ask me, they were like, how would them, because they knew I'd gone to a few places, and they were like, how would them guys do out here? And I was like, whoa. Don't let me be.
Yeah, hold up just a minute here.
I told him, I was like, don't let Dale Brisby be your representation of what a Texas cowboy can accomplish out here with you guys. Right. I was like, there's plenty that we would all have to learn when it comes to, for instance, the way they tie them to a tree.
Right, I understand, yeah.
But a good cowboy is a good cowboy. And so
right. Well, it's just like, just my circle have been around. You learn different things from different people or wherever you go.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And so it would just be cool to go out there and just see, pick their brains, how they do things, how they approach things.
There's some uniqueness to it.
Yeah.
There's some uniqueness to it. Like the way they tie them to a tree, like there's like they'll go, around the horns above the ears, but it would be a double half hitch and then a bowline around the tree, back under the bowline, and then like half a dozen half hitches.
Right.
To make sure he stays there for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
With a full rope, not just a pig and string.
Yeah.
And so they would all carry like just like an old rope on the back of their saddle. Mm-hmm. So they would use, a better 40-footer to rope them, and then have like an old team rope and rope to tie them to a tree.
Yeah.
And so like that was super new, and we're about to put out a video in a week of me going out there, and you can tell like when we go to tie them to a tree, I'm like, all right, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I kind of got the hang of it, but that part was.
Yeah, but what an experience to go hang out with them and do that stuff.
Oh my gosh. Like who gets invited to do that?
Yeah.
Awesome. And so, like that was when Derek called me, like I just had to go.
Yeah.
It was a Tuesday, and he said,
reschedule.
Yeah,
we're going.
He said, we're leaving Monday.
Yeah.
And I said, here we go.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
So, but yeah, like it was funny the first day, like I missed one bull, And then I caught like this little dink that later in the week, Derek, without me knowing, would go release because he didn't think it was going to make it. Oh. And then the second day, I caught 2 cows, neither of which I roped. I had to dog both of them. Uh-huh. One I didn't even try to rope. Another one I missed, and then I just jumped on her. So it was funny, but it was like Dale Brisby, like just a comical way to get. And then finally the last day, I got 6 and he turned 1 loose. And then I got another yearling, just like a 4-weight. And then the last day, my horses were done. You run out of horse before you run out of cattle.
I can imagine.
Yeah, your horses are done.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of going down the road. I'm out of horse. And 6 bulls come running down off the side of the mountain, 5 cowboys behind them.
Okay.
And this big red bull is out front. Uh-huh. And Coulter Lee Todd, Coulter Todd's boy, he's 16. Cowboy's like a grown man. He was like, "Get him, Dale." And I was like, I'm out of horse, but he's in front of me. Right. I can't just let him run off. So I follow him. I throw 1 Hail Mary, I miss. Then he goes around this brush, and he's just a slow lope down the creek. And I'm like, all right, this is my shot. And I get behind him, and he's about to go into the brush. And so I throw just the prettiest heel loop I've ever thrown and catch both back feet and go to the horn, and I got him. I'm like, okay, finally I caught something worth some money. I mean, it's the biggest animal we caught out there. He's probably 1,700 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
Red, muley, with a white face, mop face, and so, like, I'm stoked.
Yeah,
and I sit there and hold him until Cole shows up and gets a head loop on him. Uh-huh. Donnie shows up, ties him down, and I'm like, we got him. Like, it's the last day, and I get to looking at him. I was like, man, how'd he cut his ear? And I was like, oh.
You're kidding me.
Somebody else cut him.
He's earmarked?
Now I look between his legs like, oh, it's a steer.
Oh.
When they were coming down the hill, they knew it.
They knew it.
Well, they're like, we're not going to rope him. He's not our first choice.
Right.
So they were excited I caught him.
Yeah.
But it was just this little nuanced thing of just like, now I caught this one steer that everybody was excited for me, but it was just funny. It was like another Dale Brisby moment where it's like,
now come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
well, that's good. It seemed like you had fun out there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's awesome. Yeah. Cool deal.
But you ever been in a spot where you're like catching mavericks?
Oh yeah. Caught a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was raised around there, Haskell and stuff. A lot of those farmers stuff need some help cleaning up some pastures and everything. And
right.
Anyway, we got an opportunity to go to right there around Lake Stanford.
Yeah.
And this guy, he says, man, he goes, I don't know how many cows I got in here or cattle. And he said, I think there's only like 15. Well, we get in there's a whole crew of us. There's like Waylon Davis, and I mean, there's Cody Aaron. I mean, there's a whole pile of us. I think there's 12 of us that day. So we go in there, and they had a helicopter, and they was bringing them around. We had these cowboys kind of hid out in the bushes, and we was waiting on them. And he brings them around there, and we had these portable pens set up, and we're fixing to just funnel them right in there. Uh-huh. And I mean, everything's going good. And then when they come and seen those pens and seen us, I'll tell you, look like a covey of quail.
Dang, just scattered.
Yeah, 50 plus.
50 plus head?
Yes, and he thought he had 15. And I'm talking about some inbred. I mean, yeah, they had been there for a minute. So anyway, we
big,
caught
so it was a big pasture.
It was a big, it was a big. I don't remember how many acres. There was a couple of sections.
Big enough that he didn't know how many was in it.
Yeah, a couple of sections. And there was a bunch of limousines, and it was pretty wild. Anyway, we caught a perfect day. It was overcast, cool. I don't remember what day, what month it was, but we used the helicopter. We talked to him, was like, hey, there's these fields out in this pasture. Said, hey, would you just kind of spot 4 or 5 of them, and just drive them out there to these fields, and then we'll just stay on the tree lines, and we'll just ambush them. We'll just catch them. Anyway, so we did that all day long. I mean, we caught. We ended up cleaning them all out. I don't remember how many it was. 50, but like I said, 50 plus.
Yeah.
And we didn't use our horses up. We used another pickup and a chain to pull all those cows in there, just to pull them into trailers. Anyway, so we ended up getting it all cleaned off and stuff. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. And there was do what?
How many trips you think? How many days?
No, it was one day.
Y'all got them all off in one day.
Yeah, we caught the perfect day. Like it was overcast.
And then you weren't having to jerk them in the trailer.
Yeah,
so
that's
you had
right. So we saved the horses, and we all brought like.
You're probably not missing much with the crew like that.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, there was loops.
I'm just saying,
but but yeah, it was.
For me personally, I'm hitting 7 of them in the back of the head before I catch my first one.
Right. Now, Dale, come on now. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it was a perfect day, and like we stayed out there all day long. It was overcast enough, and we had enough horses and stuff. And like I said, we used that pickup to help us load those cows after we caught them, and calves, bulls, and everything. I mean, it was everything in there. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was.
When was this? What point in your life?
Trying to think. I was already moved in Borger. I think that was maybe 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. But they had called us and asked us to come back down there. Actually, my dad had called me and said, hey, we got this deal about cleaning off this little ranch here. We come help us. And I was come down there.
Yeah, that's one of those deals. Like, yeah, I'll make time for that.
Yeah, I'll make time with that. You know, yeah. it made a pretty good little cash deposit in my pocket.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was a good deal.
And it was fun in Arizona, like we were camping. But I remember this one, the first day, big muley bull, like probably 1,200 pounds, 1,300 pounds, like just big, but he's kind of skinny. They had a picture of him from last early fall, and he was even bigger than that. I guess, it was a dry winter out there, but I had ripped my shoulder back in the brush, and I was so sore, and I tried to hula hand it, and it just like hit the dirt. Yeah. Didn't even hit and the moment my loop hit the ground, this guy, he probably used 38 feet of his 40 foot. And I mean, the loop was closing as it went around his head, because it was so far away. And I was like, oh, dang, they're not going to miss this week. That's how we started.
That's how you started. Yeah.
And,
but that's what they do for a living.
Yeah. You gotta get them. Like,
you don't have very many windows or opportunities to do it. So you got to get them while you can.
Brush opens up, get the loop on them.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Where else do you remember having a bunch of Mavericks?
Well, we had, my dad took care of a place over there around Throckmorton. And we had to, we really wasn't Mavericks. It was just some calves we missed, some winter calves and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he would string out a cake line. So he had a caker on the back of his pickup, and he would have the 16-foot trailer. So when he was stringing out this cake line, we would get in the back of the trailer, a horseback of a half top, and we would sit back there, cinched up, ready to go, tied on hard and fast.
Dang, that's funny.
And he would feed these cows, on the cake line. And then so once he got done feeding them, he would turn his pickup where they couldn't see us, and we'd unload. And as soon as he'd unload, chase was on.
Yeah.
I mean, we would rip and run.
Who's we?
Casey Armstrong, he was helping me a bunch that time. Yeah. And one time we did that, and I was going across there, and I was chasing this yearling, and I think he weighed 700 pounds, whatever. And over at Throckmorton, they got those big old shelly rocks kind of down in the creek bottoms, and man, we was drifting. And I was actually riding the horse of my stepmom's. It was a barrel horse. You can only imagine how fast we was running. And he was freshly shod, and he hit those old rocks, and that some buck endoed with me.
Ooh.
And when I got up, that rope was around my neck. I could feel it, and I was tied on hard and fast. And there he takes off. He's getting up, and so I grab it, and like when I pick it up, that thing sucks tight around the top of my head and pulls my hat off, and he's running through the trees. And every time going through those trees, that rope is just wrapping around a tree, going around another tree. Well, Casey, he threw a loop at that horse, and he missed him. And anyway, we finally get the horse caught, and everybody's fine. And I was kind of giggling. I was like, what the heck? I could have been me, with my neck dragging by. I said, you missed the horse. He goes, I wouldn't have missed him if you'd have been on it. I was like, okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it. But anyway, yeah, there's been several little wrecks and stuff like that, catching stuff. One time we was at Borger, had the same thing. We missed some calves. And Cole was there, Hatfield, and we ended up catching the cow. And we was trying to ship all these calves the next day, and he caught the cow. Somebody missed the calf, and everybody's like, "What are we gonna do? We need that calf." I was like, "I got an idea." So I went and got a chain, and I chained her to a tree.
Cow.
Yeah, the cow to the tree, and I used 2 master locks. Put it around here, around her throat. Like, she didn't have no horn; she was just a muley. And so I just chained it where it wouldn't choke her, and then I chained it around that tree. And it was a pretty big tree.
Yeah.
And anyway, we let her sit there all night. Come back the next morning. Guess
There's
where
the
calf
calf.
was?
Yeah,
sitting
right there.
waiting. So we just jumped out there, caught the calf, loaded it up.
Dang, that's funny.
Oh yeah.
Question is, where'd you find a tree up there in Borger?
Well,
You got
if you go north of
Dusty's.
north of Dusty's there, you get a little bit more trees.
had to be at headquarters at Dusty's house.
Yeah, that
right
ain't no
there.
joke. Yeah,
It's the only place.
Yeah.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, that's they would tie off after they caught them sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Most times they dally though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. None of them had horn knots. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hey, Bro Tater Chip, if you like getting swole-o-matic, then get yourself some Protein on mountainops.com. Hey, or if you just like being healthy, whether you're trying to bulk up, get healthy, have energy, go to mountainops.com and use code Kevin for 20% off. Ever since I started riding bulls and punching fools, I've been wearing an American hat because I'm an American. I actually wore a different hat before that for the longest, but then my mom got a job. So wear an American hat, old son. Otherwise, you ain't no cowboy. There's one buddy, he was like, he caught this bull on just a slope on the side of a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to him to help him, he was tied off. But I think just running full speed through all them trees, they don't want to tie off anyway.
Trust me, I've been tied off in fork a tree, and it's usually not very good,
No.
Once everything comes to a halt there, you're a horseback or you're not a horseback.
Yeah. I don't think, I feel like with all the conversation I've had with guys from all over, like there's a time and a place for everything. Like there's probably times too where like guys that tie off will sometimes dally, and guys that dally will sometimes tie off, I guess.
Well,
we can all get together, get along.
All get along.
Synergy.
Well, really, the deal with like dallying and stuff, years ago, nobody ever dallied.
Here, yeah.
Well, not here. I mean, here, yeah. Everybody was tired, hard, and fast. And it just kind of like the ranch rodeo world, it kind of changed. Like, ranch rodeo has changed a lot because it's quicker times. Well, if you're dallying, it's quicker. It's just, you're not letting them run out to the end of 20-something foot.
Yeah.
You can catch them on a shorter line, and it just speeds things up. I mean, it's kind of like, the calf rope and everything. It's just, we're down to 1/100th of a second, and it's the same way at the ranch rodeo. And I think it's, a lot of those guys have converted to ranching on dallying because they want to practice so they can compete in ranch rodeo and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I just think that it has just changed. Times has, changed and stuff. So
how'd you go about it with Hazen and Ryland, teaching them? So like, number one, you had them on good horses.
Yeah.
But like, you make sure they can handle their horse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Handle their horse, make sure they're on good horses. Knew that, they wasn't, this horse was pretty much bomb proof as much as it could be, we did start off dallying when they was little, dragging calves and doing stuff like that. But the more they got handier with the rope or knew where the rope was, I would eventually let them tie on like dragging calves and doing stuff like that because I knew they was, aware of what the rope was doing instead of just, oh, my rope's on the ground,
Right.
And so anyway, it's...
Well, also, they're both like number 9 team ropers now.
Well, they're getting there. They're getting there, yeah. So, yeah, it's, I don't know, a lot of patience, kind of knowing that don't put them in a bad situation, I guess.
Yeah.
So...
It's easier, too, whenever you know the entirety of the pen, how the cattle are going to act, how the rest of the crew is.
Correct.
Like you're around a good crew.
Oh, yeah.
You obviously know the horse they're on. And their ability.
Yeah.
What about backing up? I just want to hear the Hegan Lamb story as it pertains to just cowboying and how you would tell it.
Okay. So Anyway, I was born and raised around Haskell and Stanford area.
Yeah.
My dad took care of a ranch out there for the guitar ranch, and I went to a little school called Paint Creek out there.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of nowhere, just a little 6-minute school, kind of middle of a cotton field. So, anyway, like I was raised right there on that ranch for 20-something years.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, my dad took me every day, pretty much, if I was not at school, And his deal is what he told his bosses, if my kid can't go with me, if my boy can't go with me to these other ranches and work and stuff, he didn't want to do it. So he was fortunate enough that his bosses would let me go, And it's, a lot of these ranches and stuff nowadays, they kind of frown upon that, people taking their kids because of accidents and, stuff like that. But
right.
There are a few ranches out there who still let those kids go. And so anyway, I was there. Like I said, my dad, he took me everywhere, and then I rodeoed quite a bit when I was there. Probably not on the best horses, but we sure enough competed, and we was there. We entered up. And then so when I was got finished, graduated there, I come to school, went to school at Weatherford for a little bit, finished in a year. You can imagine that. I told him that was all I could have. And had enough schooling.
Oh, yeah, no, I finished college.
Yeah, I finished college.
I was done with it.
Yeah, in 1 year, everybody asked me if I finished it. I said, yeah, in a year.
Yeah, I was done with it.
I may not have got the piece of paper, but I was done with it.
Well, I'm finished.
Yeah.
Turns out.
That's it.
Don't you want a diploma? No, I'm done.
I'm done. So anyway, I rode horses around Weatherford for a while. Worked for a guy named Thomas Saunders over there.
Yeah.
At Weatherford. He taught me a lot right there. So, I rode a lot of colts. We went out to Arkansas, rode horses out in Arkansas. We started horses for the Wagners. And then once I left there, I worked for a guy around Jacksboro named Emery Birdwell. And we doctored a lot of cattle there. He's on a rotation deal, and he took care of a lot of cattle right there. And I think I stayed there for 2.5 years or something like that. And then after I got done there, I moved back to Haskell, took care of a bunch of wheat pasture cattle, worked for the Thompsons. And then that's kind of when, I ranch rodeoed quite a bit through then. But when I moved back, I really, the Thompson ranch is where I kind of really started going quite a bit as far as the ranch rodeo stuff.
Yeah.
We did a lot of jackpots and stuff when I was in college or my short time in college.
Yeah.
We went to all those ranch rodeos and did all that stuff. I was pretty fortunate. My dad, he kept me pretty in the spotlight because if he wanted me to, what I'm trying to think of, not be nervous, and competing and doing stuff. And so I was appreciative of that, and so it was good. Yeah. So once I moved back to Haskell, I ended up moving to Borger, ended up getting married, and then we moved to Borger. And then I stayed at Borger for like 15 years. I think that's right. Yeah. 15 years. So
that's a lot of cowboying.
Yeah, a lot of cowboying. I day worked when I was back at Haskell. I day worked around a lot. Sixes, Eric Guthrie, and they worked for them, and they worked for Thompsons and stuff, and did all that. And then when I moved to Borger, I took care of that ranch up there for them, helped them out for, like I said, for 15 years.
Did y'all neighbor with Dixon Creek that whole time?
We did. That actually, the Crutch Ranch has been neighboring with them for, like 30-something years or something like that. They've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And that was one thing, like down around Haskell area and stuff, there wasn't a whole lot like neighboring and stuff. So I wasn't used to it. And so when I moved up there, like, we're going to go over here and neighbor with them. I was like, we're not going to get paid. I'm like, no, we're going to go help them. They're going to come help us. I was like, well, okay. Because I never experienced that down around Haskell or anywhere else I went. And so, which I thought that was a cool deal, being neighborly and helping each other. And it worked out to our advantage, it was just a good deal.
Well, it works out to their advantage too. Dusty told me one time having Hegan here is like having 2 or 3 guys. And then
that's riding away.
And then you also have your boys.
Oh, yeah.
Like you alone, the hand that you are, in addition to your 2 boys that, when I first got there, they were pretty young, but they were still just as capable as a lot of grown men.
Yeah, so I was kind of the way my dad took me. I wanted to be able to take my boys.
For sure.
And so I had an opportunity where I could do that, And really and truly where my kids really shined was COVID year. Because
they got to cowboy more.
That's it.
Yeah.
School shut down. They went to online and doing all that. And so when they did that, I don't remember how many. I think they branded 5,000 head that year with me that year.
Because they could probably get their schoolwork done in an hour.
Dale, an hour, maybe an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe 2. But I'm just saying, like, it's, at the end of the day, when you're at school, you're wasting a lot of time.
Well, yeah.
And then, so, like, whenever you got stuff to do, like, hey, let's get this done so we can get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they just go to, I don't know. I feel like I agree with you. I think I see them shining in that scenario.
Yeah. No, it was really good. I mean, like I said, I've took them with me a bunch and everything. One thing I learned through my journey with my boys is, and I tell a lot of people this, is because everybody's like, hey, when I need to start taking my kids, and I always tell them they need to have patience.
Yeah.
Because the deal is I think I wasn't that great at it, but I did have quite a bit of patience. But, I about lost Rylan. He was 2 years old, and he rode pretty good, but he fell off his horse. His horse stepped on him. And so we stayed some time in the emergency room, in the ICU because it broke his ribs, punctured his lung. Yeah, it was a bad deal. So I tell everybody they need to have patience with them. They're just babies, and they'll have the rest of their life to go forward and cowboy and do stuff. I wanted it so bad for them to go with me and do things, but I mean they are, which they're good now, but at that time it was a pretty scary moment.
Yeah, imagine. Horse accidents are.
And they're gonna happen. Horse accidents. If you're around horses, it's gonna happen. You just hope it's not a bad accident.
Right.
Hoping it's a little bump and they learn from it and going down the track, But
right.
But yeah, it was like I said, it was a scary moment, and that's kind of one thing I tell everybody that I talk to. Like, hey, just have patience. They'll get there.
Yeah,
they will.
Well, you were at Crutch Ranch for 15 years, but then you were just at Tongue River.
Yes,
back at Tongue River for a few years.
Yeah, I went to Tongue River for like 2 years, like 2 years and 2 months.
Yeah,
great opportunity. Yeah. Those guys was nothing but good to us. It was.
Which you've been around Bubba quite a bit.
Oh yeah, from when he was at Dixon Creek, that's where our relationship really built up there, Dixon Creek.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, but so. I got an opportunity to go there, Tongue River, and ride some of their good horses. And that ranch is an awesome place to go ranch at. I mean, it really is.
It's crazy. I was, I had Gringo on, and Stoney was on, and a lot of those guys talk about. It was funny to hear like a pattern. Whenever they were like, why they left a place. How many of the times they left a place often had to do with because their boss left and their boss went to another place to run it, and then they recruited them, it's just hey, I need you to follow me. Yes. And so that's a cool thought. I think it speaks a lot to, when you're wanted in a lot of areas, that's a neat trait to, it's like, well, why'd you leave? Well, my boss left and he made a sweet deal for me.
Yeah, made a sweet deal. I couldn't turn it down.
Yeah, so I had to go follow him. But
it is a deal. And like I said, that happens a lot, but people get used to working around each other, and it just flows a lot better. And so it's just, like I said, it happens a bunch.
What when you look back on cowboying, like what role and when did you see it develop in or see that it was important? What role did horsemanship play?
Horsemanship play? Like what role?
In you developing as a cowboy.
Like
you talked about going to be around Saunders, Thomas.
Yeah, so like horsemanship, like I showed some horses when I was in high school and did some stuff, in which they were just ranch horses. and we tried to develop more horsemanship. My dad always tried to make me, horsemanship was a key thing. And so I did show a little bit, but like as far as like really starting colts and doing that thing, I feel like I really developed over there. I learned a lot, around other people around Weatherford in that area over there, just kind of watching and seeing, a guy told me a long time ago, watch and learn from everybody, but put it together and do your own thing. Mm-hmm. You can't ride and do what, say, Boyd Rice or any of those. You ain't going to ride exactly. You take a little bit from everybody, or Thomas or whoever, my dad or whatever, and you put it together and you ride like you need to ride. Mm-hmm. And I really, like I said, I study and watch everybody, and, Stoney, he does things different. I really like, and then, there's, like I said, there's tons of people that I just learned to. But to answer your question, I really thought when I went to college, that's where I really started to try to pick up more horsemanship and do that stuff. And so it's been really good.
Hey, old son, if you're not feeding every morning with a Can-Am side-by-side, then you ain't no cowboy. I got a Can-Am because I needed a reliable ranch rig that I could use every day because I don't know how to work on stuff like that. So I want something that's not going to break down ever. Get yourself a Can-Am, old son. Rock and roll denim is what Dale Brisby uses to spur his bucking bulls. I get the Reflex. Gives me the mobility I need to be the cowboy I am. So go to rockandrolldenim.com, old son. Yeah, it seems like a lot of the hands I've talked to, like 2 stops they have along their way in their cowboy career would be trying to find somewhere where maybe they didn't do it strategically, it just happened, but like they'll go work for a horse trainer or something where they've learned about, just the mechanics of horsemanship. And then the other thing is like a lot of guys end up at some point on wheat pasture running yearlings.
Yeah, for sure. You learn a lot at wheat pasture.
Yeah. Get to do a lot of roping.
Well, a lot of roping. And what makes good horses out there too is you're on them a lot.
Yep.
And when you're on them a lot, you're trying new things and, oh, that didn't work. Oh, yeah, this is feeling a lot better, or things like that. So, yeah, wheat pasture really, makes a really good horse. I always said that once you can put one in the trailer and go to several different spots, loading and unloading and riding and doctor wheat pasture cattle, you look up in about 30 days, you got a broke one.
Yeah.
When he wasn't broke,
Right.
So, it's really cool.
Yeah. So then it seems like a lot of different guys that have been on have also, in some point, had a side hustle, whether it be training horses or shoeing or something.
Yeah.
Did you have any of those along the way?
I dang sure wasn't no sure.
Yeah.
No, I pay somebody to do that.
Really?
Hurts my body. Yeah. I can do it, but I don't like to do it.
Right.
As far as side hustling, I was thinking making little extra money, rodeoing.
Yeah.
I tried to do that. That's what I did.
Has it always been ranch rodeo or team roping too?
No, so
bull riding maybe.
Well, it wasn't bull riding. No, I rode broncs really good, but that was about the only rough stock I did.
Yeah.
So I tried to go pro. I went pro for a little bit, kept roping, filled my permit, and I thought, all right, I'm going to go.
Oh, dang. I did not realize that.
Yeah. So anyway, got broke, had to go home, go to work.
Yeah.
And, it was always one of my dreams was to do that, who's not dreamed to make it to the NFR, you know what I mean?
For
so
sure.
It was always one of my dreams was to go and try to do that and compete. And I've always liked roping calves. And so once that dream was kind of down, ranch rodeo was where I went to.
Yep.
And so I just really focused on ranch rodeo and I was good. I mean, really good at it, or decent at it, let's put it that way. And I really enjoyed doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Competing. I always like to be competing.
What team were you on here at Houston? When I saw you?
The League Ranch.
League Ranch, okay.
Yeah.
Wakefield.
Wakefield. He put it together. So,
who all was on that team?
It was Wakefield, Cop Houston, Coley Flowers, Cooper Jones, and me.
That's right.
Yeah. we didn't get nothing done.
Dadgummit.
Had to come home.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes.
Crazy. That's the way. Yeah, like it's crazy sometimes. Like just the best team, and you could even have good runs, and then it just for whatever reason calf turns.
Oh yeah.
Bronc changes leads, whatever, and then it's just not your day.
It's the way it goes.
Some days it's your day, some days it's not your day.
It's 100% rodeo.
Yeah, yeah. As Dusty was talking
What'd
about.
What'd you say? On to the next one.
On to the next one. Yeah. Dusty was talking about when Taylor first got the ranch.
Uh-huh.
They went to 2 ranch rodeo. They won like their first 2 or 3, like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
He was like, "Calm down," like he was just talking to himself, like this is exciting, but you just got to be careful because some days it's just not your day at that ranch rodeo.
It's just not your day.
Yeah,
that's anything. I mean,
yeah,
rodeo period.
Not everybody can be Dale Brisby.
That's right.
No, I've learned a lot from you in the Brandon pen, and it seems like you are a student of the game. You're constantly, you've got a depth of knowledge, but it's like you're studying, like, how can I get better at this? What's your mindset? Has it always been like that, or just as you got a little older? I guess you started at one point, you had to teach your kids. Maybe that's where.
Yeah, so as far as that, it's just kind of like what I was talking about, learning from everybody, paying attention. It's not so much like people telling you, it's just watching. When you see something like, oh, yeah, I see that worked.
Yeah.
He stepped up there and turned that calf back, made that calf get in that position or something like that. Or so it's just always learning. You always want to try to learn to be better and take the better shots and stuff. And that's why I try to tell my kids all the time is like, hey, set it up. A lot of people like in a Brandon pen, it's not how fast you catch them. It's about how fast you rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Because not every loop is going to connect every time.
Mm-hmm.
So, when they was little, it goes back to this patience stuff.
Yeah.
It took them forever to rebuild. I'm like, hey, you're going to have to learn how to rebuild faster so you can throw more loops down there. And that's what makes you a better calf dragger is because the more loops you throw down there, the better odds you're going to catch one and get him out fast. And then I would always, teach everybody, it's all about position. And then a lot of people, they get in a hurry as far as like dragging calves, once they get one drug out and they get the rope off, like they just fire right back into the herd while they're rebuilding their loop. Well, the best thing, a wise man told me, says, rebuild your loop, have your loop ready before you go back into the herd. Mm-hmm. Because you never know when that opportunity presents itself, if it may be right out of the outside of the herd. Yeah. A good calf dragger always stay on top of the herd, never get in the middle of them, stirring them up, which sometimes when it just depends on when you're, your name is called or when you're
cleaning up.
Or if you're cleaning up, you got to do what you got to do. But if you're, second or third or the first one, you're going to kind of stay out on top of them because most time, what you've seen it, all the work calves go to the back. All the unworked calves usually come to the front.
Yeah.
Very few, like if you're cleaning up, they'll be, at the very back. But big part of the time, those calves are always up at the top saying, hey, catch me.
Yeah.
So.
And then one thing, I usually like to ride to the back, even if I'm starting. But no, but I did like, I would just ride to the middle of my pen, and you were like, and you told me like, no, start on the right. And then you can work yourself down the line.
That's it.
And then whichever butt sticks out first, that's your target.
That's it. It's all about angles. It's kind of like pool, everybody, you got to get the right angles to make your ball go in the pocket. It's the right angle. So you got to have the right angles, and like teaching a lot of people that haven't drug a lot of calves when they first go in there, most time they're swinging correctly, but it's really not correctly in the Brandon pen. Mm-hmm. You got to drop your elbow and swing it down here to the side, sit over your head, and it's, like I said, it's all about angles. And so when your angles and you set them up, then that's what makes a better calf dragger.
Mm-hmm. And then it helps if you don't miss.
Well, no, it's not about the missing. It's about the rebuilding.
Yep.
Got to rebuild fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
It ain't no good if it's just sitting in your hand. Got to throw it fast and rebuild fast.
Right. Yep.
That's what make good calf dragger. Trust me, I miss a bunch.
I guess I'm just not rebuilding enough. Or fast enough.
Fast enough.
Fast enough.
Maybe get that energy drink. You'll be faster.
I have to rebuild plenty. I just don't. I'm just not. Yeah. Maybe that's it. I had my ranch fuel at the wrong time of day.
What shoulder hurts the first? Hurts the worst? The first, left one or your right one?
My right one.
Your right one?
Yeah.
Oh, most of the time it's my left one.
Why?
Rebuilding all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, my right one is shot. I dislocated it 5 times. I broke my collarbone 3. So I've had a shoulder surgery and a collarbone surgery. And I really thought it would feel better by now. It's like
How'd
a
you
year,
break your collarbone?
year later. The first time stepping on a bull. The second time I just leaned on it and it re-broke because it was 3 weeks after.
Uh-huh.
And then the third time I bucked off a bronc on like a really hard pin. And
Yeah, I broke my collarbones too.
Yeah.
This one twice. My right one twice.
Did you have to have surgery?
No,
They grew back.
no. Well, they grew back, but not right. It got me a big old knot, you know.
Really?
Yeah. And I broke my left one too. Bucking horses got me.
The last time I broke it, when it healed back, they were like this. It was just calcium holding them together.
Mm-hmm.
And so
They played it?
Yeah, he had to plate it, and it was just like no question. I just had to have surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, they looked at mine and they talked about surgery, but they said they didn't want to do it because it would make it weak, you know. I guess putting those screws with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I did the same thing. Like, I didn't let it heal fast enough or long enough. Rebroke it.
Yeah.
And collarbones. Uncomfortable as heck.
Yeah. Very inconvenient.
Very inconvenient.
Yep.
Can't pick up nothing.
Yeah. What's your next ranch rodeo?
I don't know yet. I ain't scheduled it yet. No one's called me.
But you don't
Call me. I'll
don't
go.
have a plan to go with Wakefield coming up or nothing?
He hasn't called me. I don't know.
He seems like
He said, what about
unorganized-
next year? I said, yeah, whatever. Call me.
Yeah. He seems the unorganized type that might call you like the day before he enters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to go. Like, you never called me. Well, the entries aren't till tomorrow.
Yeah. That's Wakefield.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you worked around him before?
Just day works and stuff. You know, he was actually at Dixon Creek, which you was there.
Yep.
Yeah. Dixon Creek and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of places we worked around each other.
Did you ever know Weston Rakowski at Haskell?
I knew him. He's younger than me. But,
yeah, I knew he was.
But my dad and them, they was all pretty close. But
Really?
I knew who he was. But like I said, he was, I don't even know how old he is, but he's maybe 10 so years younger, 12 years
I think
older.
he's probably 32-ish,
Yes.
maybe 33.
So say I was already pretty much, he was a lot younger than me. So
Yeah.
I knew who he was.
Not a lot.
He's a
of
bullfighting sucker now.
Steve Pace?
Steve Pace?
Yeah. He was from over there. What's that little town right next to? I think you already said it. The little town next to Haskell.
Well, there's Rule.
Rule. That's where he's from.
Yeah.
Yeah, he grew up in Rule. Anyways, he went to the military. He wasn't a cowboy.
Oh, I think I do.
Yeah.
Steven?
Yeah,
Hey,
Steven.
Steven Pace. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know him. Yeah, I do.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Steven.
Steven.
Oh, you put the N at the end. Yeah. Classic mix-up. Yeah. Yeah, no, Steve too. He's from over there. Yeah. So now you're riding horses? What are you doing now?
Yep, riding horses. Got some 2-year-olds in, riding them. Have quite a few rope horses. Just training. Kind of started my own little business. And
What's that?
Hanging Lamb performance horses.
Okay, gotcha.
So just been doing that, and it's been really good, a blessing. So when I left Tongue River there, I got married and moved to Mineral Wells, and anyway, started that little business and been riding horses, and yeah, it's been a blessing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So are you going
Busy.
back to showing, or you're just riding them?
Oh no, I'm going to show some.
Yeah.
Putting some of my personal horses together right now. Got a handful, like I said, handful of outside horses and doing that. But yeah, I'm going to show and keep doing all the things. Trying to keep all these kids mounted, or both my kids mounted, is hard.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal for them. I don't know, which Hazen's out there doctoring yearlings. So, hey, Pop, I need a couple mounts for the week.
Yeah. Yeah, He's always calling, needing more horses.
Yeah, that's a good. Well, I guess it's good for you too that he's the one putting rides on them.
Yeah,
it works out for everybody. Then
it does.
Yeah. He's taking care of a lot of them, isn't he?
Yeah. What did he tell me? 12, 13,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're busy.
I'd call that a lot. That'd be
quite a few. Quite a few.
Have you have you had any like gnarly situations that they've impressed you with, like getting out of ranching? Like
talking about the boys.
Yeah. Just picturing, like, I don't know, like, because they're handy enough that it's just like, oh dang, you're my son, but you're also a man now.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, the proud dad moment was COVID year. We had to go catch a bunch of wild stuff, and anyway, when they both come back and had one caught, it's kind of a proud dad moment. You know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of your chest pokes out and stuff. But yeah, it's. I'll just sitting here trying to think of all of them. That was probably one of the top moments. Is the very first time that everything kind of ran off and they went and caught it, and that's kind of when you knew, like,
yeah, you're on your way.
Yeah, you're on your way. You know, they starting to figure it out. You know,
right.
You know, it's kind of like a horse. Once he starts to figure out what you're asking him, you're like, oh, finally, you figured it out, boys. You know. So anyway, that was, like I said, probably one of my proudest moments when they started figuring all that out.
I think it was pre-COVID. First time I come up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was neat to hang around both of them for 2 weeks. I don't remember how long they were out there, you know, off and on because of school. Yeah. But I gave them both some pocket knives.
Oh, Dale Brisby giving them pocket knives. Yeah. So
it ended up being a problem, I think.
Yeah. So they get home.
Yeah.
I'm over there working in the shop.
Very sharp.
Yes.
Sharp knives.
They had a contest. Who had the sharpest knives?
Yeah.
Thank you again, Dale.
Yeah. What were they cutting, though?
The trampoline mat.
Who needs a trampoline?
They come over there. They run over there to the shop where I was at working. Like, Dad, got any tape? I said, no, there's some painter's tape over there in that drawer. Go get it. Oh, perfect. So they get it, fire out. Well, the longer I'm working in the shop, I'm like, what they need tape for?
Yeah.
So I get done. I start walking over to the house, and they're over by the trampoline. Well, I venture over to the trampoline. There's this blue tape on this new, I'm talking about I bet it wasn't a week old trampoline mat. And this tape over there. I'm like, what'd y'all do?
Yeah.
Dad, we're just going to see who had the sharpest knife. So I thank you, Dale Brisby, for that. I had to buy I didn't buy a brand new trampoline mat very fast. I made them just suffer and didn't get to jump on a trampoline for a minute. But they both got those knives still.
Yeah.
That probably still is as sharp as when you give it to them.
Yeah, because they stopped using them right after that.
No joke, yeah.
Yeah, they're scared to get in trouble.
Yeah, that's probably wasn't their finest moment.
Yeah. Total Feeds is what keeps the herd powered here at Radiator Ranch, and Total Equine is what I've been giving Boone for 10 years. He's 24 years old and still going strong. You can get it on Chewy.com or a dealer near you. RodeoTime.com is the only website that should exist because it's the greatest apparel line that has ever existed. So go there now to get a t-shirt, a hoodie, a cap, a vest, whatever it is you need. Go to RodeoTime.com, old son. What about had any more wrecks of your own?
No, thank the Lord.
Thank the Lord.
I don't.
or near wreck experiences.
No,
horseback.
No, I try to stay away from those.
Stay out of them. Just
I've had plenty of them
with the barrel horse on the rocks. That's about it.
Well, no, there's a lot more than that. I mean, Abilene, bronc riding at the Western Heritage.
Yeah.
I drew a stud of Benny Butler's. I think he was 111. They call him Praying Mantis. Yeah, he did a number on me. I went and asked Benny. I seen the number. I went over and asked him. And he said, oh, he's a good one. I said, okay. So I go back there behind the bucket chutes. He's by himself. And he had this cool, like, fetlock. I'm like, you couldn't even see his eyes. Like, I mean, he literally hung to his nose. He was a cool looking thing. Stallion, man, did he get me. So he comes out of there, he rears out, and when he rears out, he circles to the left.
Yeah.
And I stayed with him, I don't know, it was like to nearly 8 seconds. It was like 7 something, I don't know. And when he bucks me off, he kicks me in my head, knocks me out, breaks my collarbone.
Golly.
And anyway, they carted me out of there. I didn't wake up till Sunday afternoon. And yeah, it was a pretty scary moment there for a while. I couldn't remember none of it, but
do you know Rump, the rodeo clown?
Yeah.
He said, he told the story on a podcast, mine, like a month ago. He said 1 year in Abilene, they were with the ranch rodeo. He said it was a 2-day deal. And after the first night, a bunch of guys rode. Uh-huh. But one of them said, "Dang, Benny, you ain't got nothing but these dinks," or something like to that effect.
Wrong thing to say.
Rump had already began to drink, but Benny made him load the horses, go back to Elk City, reload a bunch of eliminators.
Yep.
Praying Mantis being one of them. And brought them down for the next night. I wonder if it's the same week, same year.
I wish he wouldn't have said nothing. Whoever did that.
Whoever said it.
Yeah. It wasn't me because I got bucked off Friday night. That was Saturday night when I got knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah. It was not good.
Yeah.
Then one time at Alpine, I had a bad wreck there. Another bucking horse. He bucked me off, and I didn't let go of my rein. And I pulled him on top of me. Broke my other collarbone.
Ooh.
Yeah, broke my ribs.
Dang.
Yeah.
Is that's where you have to freehand?
Well, down there, that wasn't set
it was
at
a different
time.
deal.
Yeah, it was a different deal.
Yeah.
You could ride back then. You could ride now. I think that was maybe in 06. So, but yeah, he landed on top of me. He was pretty Western.
Yeah. So just really in the rodeo pen.
Well, I've had several outside too.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to sit here, think about, you get so many knocks to the head, you kind of forget a lot of things.
Right.
And, well, I told you about that one. One time I forked a tree, was tied on. I didn't make it, fell off. There's been times
Did you lose the beef?
No, the beef was hung on my rope. No, I still got the beef. I just wasn't horseback anymore. Yeah, one time I was over there at Old Glory catching a bunch of wild stuff, and the cow went right of the tree. My horse went right of the tree, but I didn't go right of the tree. I went left of the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hit me in my rib cage.
Ooh.
Yeah. Pretty Western.
Yep. What are you going anywhere this spring?
Oh, no, not really. I think I'm kind of just taking it around here local.
Yeah.
May not try to venture off. I may go up there and help the crutch and up there, brand there, but I know I talked to Dusty to see about going, maybe helping him.
Yep.
Go back up there. You going?
Yep. That's the plan. So, yeah.
Be good.
Get the band back together.
That's it. Are you going to stay in teepee?
No, I think there's a clinic.
Oh, there is.
And Charlie's got to go.
Oh.
Cook for that.
There you go.
Yeah, so I don't think they're pulling out
they're
the
not
wagon.
Pull the wagon.
Yeah, not this year.
That don't bother me none.
Yeah,
this is 2025.
Yeah, well, I love it, but this old mop of mine, I gotta wash my hair.
You gotta wash your hair.
So I'd be off in the horse tank every day.
You would.
Some of them other guys would just jump in the horse tank every couple of days, or if it was really windy, but like I couldn't skip it.
Yeah.
And one year, I got a cold plunge now. I do like ice baths. Well, the reason I started ice baths was because one year we were parked, what's the one kind of going towards West Camp, that little set of pins, not Shelton pins, but on the side of that hill.
Side of the hill?
It's going towards West Camp, but just where we would camp. Where we'd pull out the wagon on that
Pageant? Was it Pageant?
Yeah. And anyways, it was cold, and I'm sure you were there, but we all wore heavy jackets all day, and it was cold that day, and I had to go take a bath, and it was like, I'm sure the water was maybe 45 degrees or whatever, but I remember still feeling amazing sitting in my teepee that night because it was like a cold plunge. So now I do cold plunges because of that.
Of that.
But whenever Dusty says they're not going to pull the wagon out, there's a small part of me that's excited because I get to take a shower in a normal shower.
Yeah. I mean,
which to me, that's the most girly thing that a cowboy could ever say.
Yeah.
I get it. You ain't no cowboy.
Like I said, when I was younger, I didn't mind staying out in the wagon, but nowadays it's just, I like my bed.
I didn't realize how long some places will still keep it out these days. Yes. Like Gringo was saying, like when they pull it out at the Wagners, like they would be on it for a long time.
Yeah, they stay out there for months.
Yeah, in the 2000s.
Yeah.
So like I guess I still envision people maybe a month at a time, but yeah, he was talking about it being like a long time they'd be out because he was on. I can't remember what they call that crew that just constantly helping brand, you know, at Wagner's.
Yeah, I don't know what they call it.
But anyways, regardless.
Yeah, stay a month out there in the wagon.
Yeah, that'd be a long time. Mm-hmm. I need to scroll TikTok. I need to, you know. There's no conditioner. You guys just have shampoo.
Yeah.
What a crop.
If they have shampoo.
How do you expect me to survive under these conditions?
Yeah.
But one thing about it, the food was always amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the wagon.
Charlie, he can cook, can he?
He's pretty bueno.
Ooh. Yeah. Yes, he is. Cobbler. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. Good times, good times.
So you'll go with me to Arizona next trip?
If you invite me or they'll to have me, I'll go.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
The day before, like Wakefield. Yeah. Just call you. Hey, we're leaving in the morning.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome to get to go out there. I would like to go see it. Yeah. Do that stuff.
It's tricky because you gotta, like, you want to take your best horses, but on the other hand, like Buckethead, like he's pretty much a kid horse, and I also use him to pick up. So you need something that's tough, go to him, but you also, it's touch and go.
Yeah. Gotta have something sure-footed for sure.
Yeah.
Can't be clumsy. Gotta be dang sure know what he's doing.
Yeah. And all them guys out there, there was a family, they referred to themselves as Indians, so I'll say it, you know, but they yeah.
What tribe were they?
The reservation we were on was Apache.
Oh, it was.
Wasn't it? Yeah. So I think they were.
Yeah.
Derek is Navajo. But the dad was, you know, the boss of the whole trip, the whole outfit, and he had 4 of his sons there, the youngest being 10. He caught 2.
10-year-old.
10-year-old on a little, I don't know, what'd that horse weigh? Cheeseburger. I mean, it's a kid horse.
Yeah.
Smaller than Happy. Yeah, like this sucker was not shod. Yeah. And then just like so quiet about it. Like we would be like sitting around for like 20 minutes and they're about to leave and this little boy, like Bugs is what they called him. He's like, "Oh yeah, Bubs with a B." He's like, "Yeah, I caught one back there." Like, why didn't you say anything? Like, how are you not talking about it?
How come you're not pumping your fist and saying, like, I got one?
Do you not see how I celebrated?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's he was always shrugging. Like,
man of many words.
Yeah, he would just shrug. But anyways, they're all handy. And, of course, the older ones are just, like, taken to them. And it's a different way to grow up. Yeah. It is a different way to grow up. Yeah. I had no shot. But... No, I think there's a lot of guys that I think from Texas that would do well out there for sure. Good Cowboys are good Cowboys, and they would do well here.
Yeah,
you know, if they were to come over here, they would do well.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just like it's crazy to think what some people are used to.
Yeah,
get used to.
Oh yeah,
the way they cowboy and grow up but anyways,
being a cowboy, life of a cowboy, man.
Yeah. What advice would you give to a young person trying to break into cowboy lifestyle.
Break into a cowboy lifestyle.
Yeah, maybe they didn't get to grow up going with their dad.
And you just got to want to do it.
Or their dad was an electrician.
Or, I mean, there's, like Jeffrey Jefferson. I mean, he grew up, that's all he wanted to do,
Oh, yeah, he did go with y'all.
He did, He stayed there with me for 2 years. And anyway,
when he came to you, he didn't have any experience?
He had a little. I mean, he'd been around and done some stuff, but, I mean, he grew up on the boulevard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he kept a horse in the back of his backyard of his house, and he just wanted to be a cowboy, And so if you want to be a cowboy, it's just something you have to do. I mean, there's people probably going to laugh at you or stuff. I mean, like he dressed the part, went to school, cowboy hat, did all that stuff. But I mean, if that's what you want to be, it's what you want to be.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just them people like that want to be a cowboy. I just think that surround yourself by cowboys and get amongst them, get after it.
Yeah.
And like I said, just learn from everybody, not from just one single person,
What's Jeffrey up to now?
Shoot, he's still up there at Borger, raising a family. He works on the ranch over there. It's actually some of his wife's family's ranch. So he's up there.
So he's still cowboying.
Oh, he's still cowboying.
That's awesome.
Matter of fact, I talked to him a while ago when I was headed over here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he shaved his head. He was all upset about it.
Dang.
He said, it's a little cold.
Right.
Yeah. So he don't have to worry about conditioner or shampoo.
I haven't seen him in a long time. Yeah. No, that's right. He is a good example of that. I got another friend, Stephen Word. He very first time I met him, that's been over 10 years ago. But yeah, just, I don't know. I think you show up, obviously humble, and
yeah, that's it. I mean, you just
ready to go to work.
You got to listen.
Yep.
That's it. You just got to listen and, like I said, be humble. Go get it. Hard work. If you work hard at it, you'll be good at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of hard work, and some days there's good days, some days bad days.
What's some of the advice you've gotten from cowboys over the years that's stuck with you? Kind of like how you said that one old man that told you how to build your loop outside the herd. That way you can be ready on the edge. Oh,
yeah, just doing that. And, there was a guy that always told me, he said, hey, don't always cause a wreck. Being a young guy, you always wanted something to run off, and it just caused more work, go rope and do things. But he just says, always sit back and let everything develop. Let everything come together instead of trying to make it all work. Most times those working around cattle and stuff, you can't make them all the time. You just got to kind of let them sit back and let them, go to the gate, go through a gate, or let it sit up, or go, to the water or whatever. Most time, a lot of young people get in a hurry about it, start rushing it, which I've been there. I usually get in a hurry.
Yeah.
Causes wreck. My youngest boy, he causes wreck. My oldest one, he don't do it. He sees it.
Yeah.
He sees it before the wreck even happens.
You like to cause wrecks, Rylan? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He got a little cur in him.
You got some cur dog in you? What kind of dog would Hazen be? A Chihuahua.
Nah. Border Collie, he kind of has a little bit more feel.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Is Rylan still rodeoing?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Yeah, he's been rodeoing. They're good. They actually got their region finals here in a couple weeks. So, anyway, got a good opportunity to go to state. So, it'll be good.
What about football? Is he playing football?
No, they're homeschooled now.
Nice.
Yeah. Once we left Tongue River, we went homeschool. So,
that's the way it should be.
Homeschooling and getting after it. And they've been helping me ride horses, which, Hazen's over there at Dr. Yerlin's. So, it's been good.
I'm sure he's still doing all his schoolwork, though.
Yeah. He better be doing his schoolwork. Yeah.
Did you get your schoolwork done? Maybe not, but I did catch a yearling with a hula hand, and I got to show you this video, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they'll use that excuse. I'm done with it.
Proud moment there until didn't get no schoolwork done.
Yeah. What's he planning on doing? He's the oldest. We'll start with him. You gonna go ranch?
I asked him a while back. I said, "What are you gonna do in this world?" He said, "I just cowboy, team rope." I was like, well, I guess there's nothing wrong with it. That's what I kind of do. So
yeah.
Anyway, and I want more for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to put them in I like for them to go to school, college, either a trade school or something, learn something, fall back on. So we'll just see where the road leads him.
Yeah. I respect it.
As long as if I can teach him God and hard work and respect, I mean, that's all about all I can do.
Yeah. The rest will figure itself out.
That's it.
Yeah. What about you, Rylan?
There's no
you
telling.
going cowboy? Yeah. You'll be the all-around hand.
All-around hand.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we'll have to set you guys up, get you some rodeo time caps and shirts, and yeah, I appreciate you making the drive out.
Shoot, anytime, man.
We usually wrap it up with life advice.
Life advice. Go at it hard. Life's too short.
Yep. Mine is always give 100% unless you're donating blood.
There you go. Got to have some of it.
It always applies.
It always applies.
Yeah. Cool. I appreciate it, Hegan.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it was
Appreciate
fun.
it, man. I really did.
Love you guys. I'm Dale Brisby. I'm on to the next one.